In Caitlin Clark's Time magazine interview, she discussed some of the most controversial topics, including her Olympic snub, being targeted in the WNBA, and the infamous eye poke saga. So let's talk about it.
Have you seen Caitlin Clark's recent comments about the WNBA? She's finally speaking out in a candid interview that's generating a lot of buzz. From discussing the infamous eye poke incident to explaining why she wasn't selected for the Olympics, Clark isn't holding back. Known for her quiet nature and letting her performance speak for itself, Clark only opens up when it matters, and when she does, her words are always impactful. Her status as a generational talent is well recognized, and being named Athlete of the Year has only solidified her place in the annals of history.
WNBA sensation Caitlin Clark has scored numerous honors for her skills on the court, and now she can add another title after an incredible rookie season, Time's 2024 Athlete of the Year.
Caitlin Clark's rookie season with the Indiana Fever was groundbreaking. She shattered 6 rookie records, 4 franchise records, and set multiple WNBA milestones, including achieving 19 assists in a single game. In a revealing interview with Time magazine, Clark finally broke her silence on the controversies of her first year, addressing the media's narrative of her being unfairly targeted.
Now, we saw throughout the WNBA season how physical the game was, and there were multiple points in the year where she was pushed, shoved, thrown to the ground. A lot of things happened, and the interviewer here specifically asked her about the incident between her and Kennedy Carter.
It seems you're referring to a controversial incident involving Kennedy Carter during a heated matchup between the Indiana Fever and the Chicago Sky. In this incident, Clark was shoved on the court and subjected to a harsh verbal insult.
I mean, that's clearly a foul, which was called. The question is, will they call it unnecessary?
Clark's response to the incident may surprise you. She's choosing not to play the victim.
I never thought I was being targeted. Obviously, that shouldn't ever happen within a game, but basketball is physical. Your emotions can get the best of you. My emotions have gotten the best of me at many times.
Can you believe it? Despite the rough play, Clark isn't playing the victim. Instead, she embraces the physicality of the game, acknowledging that emotions can run high, something she experienced herself against the Seattle Storm. Rather than feeling targeted, she sees it as just a part of the sport, confidently saying, "Bring it on." Even Angel Reese's clap during the shove didn't faze her, as Clark remained calm and composed throughout. Clark isn't jumping to conclusions or stirring up unnecessary drama. She's keeping things genuine. But she's also not letting everyone off the hook. She's calling out the armchair experts who criticize without even watching the games. In her words,
that I don't even know if she really knew what happened. Honestly, I don't think she was cheering because somebody hit me. I really don't think that would be the case, and I hope it's not.
Ouch. Clark isn't afraid to put these so-called experts in their place. She's calling out bloggers and TikTokers who may not have any real insight into basketball, but still feel entitled to share their opinions. The irony? Many of them haven't even watched a full WNBA game.
And also said a lot of people that wanted to have opinions on what was happening probably didn't even watch half the games that they were trying to have a take on and hadn't supported the W for a really long time.
If we're being honest, there are moments in some games that just don't feel right. Certain pushes can appear blatant and may easily be perceived as targeted.
There was a lot of even political outlets that were taking some of these videos and trying to comment on them or share their opinions on them. And some of these political news people don't know a thing about sports. So just honestly, to me, it was comical sometimes seeing some of these political pundits trying to commentate a game. It was bad. It was all bad. So I get what she's saying in that sense.
Clark's approach to the game's physicality is straightforward but powerful. She believes that the game is inherently physical, and she approaches it with a no-nonsense attitude that's reshaping our perception of toughness in women's basketball. Instead of complaining about the rough play, she rises to the challenge.
She's like, hey, the game's physical, I just go about it, and I think that that's the mentality that she needs to have.
But hold on to your seats because Clark isn't done dropping truth bombs. Wait until you hear what she said about the Olympic snub. It sparked a whole new controversy that's got everyone talking. Remember that game where Clark absolutely dominated? The one that had everyone saying she was a lock for the Olympics? Her performance seemed like the ultimate ticket, but it turns out that game may have actually sealed her fate in a way nobody saw coming. Clark's reaction? It's not what you'd expect from the WNBA's newest superstar.
She had 7 3-pointers and a 30-point game in a Fever victory, and she said that she was on the bus. She texted her agent that she hoped that that performance helped her case to make the Olympic team for Paris. And Clark's agent responded immediately and said, I have to call you. And when Caitlin got that text, she's like, oh damn, I must have not gotten it.
Did you hear about Clark's confidence during that game? She felt on top of the world. so certain that she texted her agent right away, thinking she had just secured her spot in Paris. But then came the reply that changed everything with just one message. Clark's Olympic dreams came crashing down. Instead of getting angry or bitter, she's owning up to her early struggles. Clark acknowledges that her performance during a rough 3-0 stretch gave the Indiana Fever reasons to keep her off the team.
So she's talking about early in the season that she didn't start out that strong. However, I would disagree. Like, she definitely had a few games where her turnovers were really high, and the Fever were definitely on a losing streak. Although their schedule was stacked, they were playing tough teams. They were playing back-to-backs. There was a lot, like, the cards were stacked against them early in the season. And she didn't play as well as she did in the second half of the season.
That's not something you hear every day from a star player, is it? But Clark isn't throwing shade at the veterans who made the cut. In fact, she understands where they're coming from. These are Hall of Famers and seasoned pros, as Clark herself acknowledges.
She said at the same time she understood the decision. The 12 players selected included many Hall of Famers and Olympic veterans. A point everybody was making was like, who are you taking off the team, Clark said.
It's a fair question. Right now, you might be wondering about all the talk of Clark bringing attention to women's basketball. But she's not having any of it. Clark has made it clear that she doesn't want a spot just because she's popular. She wants to earn it with her skills on the court. She simply put it this way.
She said, I don't want to be there because I'm somebody that can bring attention. I love that for the game of women's basketball, but at the same time, I want to be there because they think I'm good enough. I don't want to be some little person that is kind of dragged around for people to cheer about and only watch because I'm sitting on the bench. That whole narrative kind of upsets me because that is not fair. It's disrespectful to the people that were on the team that had earned it and were really good. It's also disrespectful to myself.
What she's saying is that she doesn't like the idea of media people wanting her there just for the popularity. She fears a narrative might start spreading that she only secured the spot due to her fame. Clark wants to go to Paris based on her merit, not just the buzz.
On the team, I never thought the Olympic Committee, the Olympic Selection Committee, was truly honest about the players that they had selected. They said that they selected the 12 best players in the WNBA, and I don't think that that was true. They didn't select the 12 best players. I think they selected some players for their legacy, including players like Diana Taurasi. They selected some because of their leadership, because they had been there before. But you can't say we're choosing the 12 best, because if you were choosing the 12 best, I think Caitlin would have been there.
It might be controversial, but Clark's claim to a spot in the Paris Olympics is backed by undeniable stats. By the end of the season, she was ranked third in MVP voting, named WNBA Rookie of the Year, and broke 64 records.
Be on that team, and she wouldn't have been the first rookie to ever be on an Olympic team. Diana Taurasi did it, Candace Parker did it. Like, there were plenty of players who played in the Olympics during their rookie season, and so for that reason, I absolutely still to this day think that she should have been on that team. And I think, one, it would have been good, they still would have won, and it also would have brought in more eyeballs to a global stage.
So why does Clark believe she deserves that Olympic spot? She sees herself as one of the best players in the world, not just because of her popularity, but because of her skills. This Olympic snub story is just the beginning. Wait until you hear what Clark has to say about how the media covers women's basketball. It's about to change everything. Remember that clash between the Fever and the Connecticut Sun? Indigen Carrington poked Clark in the eye, a moment that had everyone talking. In her recent interview, Clark dropped a bombshell about the entire situation. She revealed that the media's portrayal of incidents like the eye poke with Indigen Carrington often oversimplifies the narrative and focuses more on drama than the actual game.